Good evening, and this is my video and info about what I learned about budgeting in the readings that we did this week. The more we get into this, the less it feels like I know about these kind of things, and I've just kind of relied on those that do know and taken for granted that they're always going to be there to give me the information that I need. So a lot of these things are eye-opening to me. The three things that were made clearer to me, and they make sense, but I hadn't really thought about them until I started reading about it, that there's many different ways to allocate the money in the budget, and many districts use multiple ways of doing this. They don't just stick to one method as they go through the year of their budgeting. Sometimes they switch those up. Another thing that is becoming more and more clear with each lesson and activity that we do. It's so important for the CFO, the school board, building administrators, and I didn't put this in my PowerPoint, but teachers, everyone involved, to understand and know their district funding policies, because lack of knowledge is not going to be a good defense if something is not taken care of properly. I find it amazing that those student activity accounts, one of the big things that the chapter pointed out was their fraud potential. With all the built-in checks and balances, I would think that, these would be heavily scrutinized at the building level, and kind of not as open to these kind of things with technology it is, and ways of tracking funding and different things and money and the different ways to handling money. I would think that would be less of an issue anymore, but the text seemed to kind of make it like it was a huge deal. Connections that I had to prior knowledge. Chapter 2 goes into the many different ways that budgets are developed and maintained. It points out, just as my CFO did in our last assignment when I met with him, that most of the budget is made on projections. And to me, that is just absolutely frightening, stressful, and to me, it's kind of risky, but it seems to work. And, he said there's many different programs and there's many different people involved in the process of making the projections and things. So it's not solely resting on on just his decisions and that stuff. But to me, it's still such a risky thing to think that just in January is when most schools find out how much of their funding they're actually going to get based on local property taxes being paid at the end of the year. So that puts a lot of power there in the people, and a lot of faith in the people that they're going to take care of their tax debts as they need to. Questions that I still have. One that really stood out to me was, according to the text, only 49 states provide additional funding for SPED. I'm very curious as to find out what state this is and which state does not provide this and why they don't. Or does it just mean that a different funding, maybe local funding, picks it up as opposed to the state funding? That really shocked me, because I didn't think that those additional SPED fundings were an option. Again, I've learned a lot with this project, and I look forward to the next one. Have a great week.